If you could rap anything, like what would you want to rap? Like what's your, I want to rap that.
My goal is to rap. I've always wanted to rap up.
What does the future of the rap industry look like? What's the craziest thing you've ever rapped?
Oh.
What's up, everybody? Today we're here talking. It's an honor with Justin Pate, vinyl rapper, trainer, entrepreneur, businessman. Cheers, man. Thank you for sitting down with me.
My pleasure, man.
What's your history? Like, how'd you get started in the vinyl rap industry?
You know, it's kind of a funny story. I was living in New York City at the time and went to college in Oregon. And after graduation, I was going to become a professor. Mythology and symbolism was going to be my thing. And then I moved to New York and I just was hanging out. I just was always wanting to live in New York. Was there for a few years, and New York is super fun when you're 21. It's awesome. And some guy who lived upstairs was installing graphics. This was 1996, so it was really new. Yeah. And he just said, "Do you want to come work for me?" And I worked with him for about a year, and it was awesome. I just fell in love. It was just something about, it was putting graphics up at, Rockefeller Center or FAO Schwartz, the windows, but he mainly wrapped cars, and he had an account with Time Warner. So I wrapped his vans, and I fell in love with particularly car wrapping. So I went off and became a freelance installer, and I did that for 11 years in New York City, and then I moved to Amsterdam in 2007 and wrapped around 3,000 cars at this point. Yeah.
That's crazy. So now you're training. We're actually in one of your in-person training classes that you're doing.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
It's funny. I was rapping for a long time, and within the rap industry, before internet and YouTube, and kind of what you're doing now is teaching people, I was just in a little bubble, and I didn't know I was doing something special. And basically, what I was doing is I could wrap a car really fast with high quality. And so I was wrapping sometimes 2, 3, 4 cars a day, just normally, and then and so people I worked for said, you're doing something different. And my wife's parents were teachers. So she said, I explained to her how nuclear energy works one time. And she said, if you can make me understand nuclear energy, you're a teacher. And I was like, I think. So around 2006, 2007, I started thinking about, should I become a trainer? And so I came out with a DVD series, which was pretty fun. And then I started teaching workshops in 2008, 2009, and doing it full time now since 2011.
And you have the Rap Institute where you have over 2,000 videos. That blows my mind. We've been doing YouTube for 5 years, and I think we have like 360 videos.
It's crazy,
2,000 videos.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of videos, man.
It's fun.
You talk about like quality, and this is something as a business owner that sometimes we struggle with talking to the consumers, because they look at vinyl wrapping, if they're looking for somebody to hire to vinyl wrap their car, they don't see the quality, they don't necessarily see the difference between businesses out there, and they don't understand the differences in the quality of installation, and they kind of just base it off the price a lot of times. So they can come to a company like us and we're $1,000 more, and they're like, why are you $1,000 more? You're just gonna vinyl wrap. Like, what are your opinions on like prices versus quality and stuff?
For a long time, I was really a quality guy, and it had to be like a particular quality, and everyone who was kind of doing fast, cheap wraps was bad. But I think there's a niche for everything. I think my best example for that is like jeans. You can buy jeans at Target. You can buy jeans at the Levi's store. You can buy G-Star. So there's different levels of jeans, and it depends on what you want to wear. And some people are comfortable with buying cheaper stuff and going with that, and some people want the more high-end stuff and appreciate the quality. And I think the rap industry for a long time, and detailing is maybe similar, is that the rap industry was small and it was really competitive for a long time. But I think now that it's grown and there's PPF lanes and there's color change lanes and commercial lanes, I think there's enough work for everyone, not only within those lanes, but also within whatever tiers you want to do. So it's a really exciting time. I think you can, whatever lane you want to choose, you can actually go for it. I don't think there's, I'm a quality guy like yourself though.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you showed us some things yesterday on, you can still get those quality results with being efficient, like not taking off bumpers and not taking off certain things, because we've gotten into, we want to take off everything. We want to have this quality. We want to make sure that everything's wrapped. You don't see any color through it. We want that type of quality, but there's some things that you can do where you can still get that without being able to take off everything and be efficient with it.
Yeah, but that's education too, you know, and I think if you look at, you know, if you're constantly looking and trying to train yourself on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, you're going to see a level that's maybe not realistic. It's cool, but it's maybe not realistic business-wise. So I think that's what's nice about training and your videos and kind of what we do with the Rap Institute is really educating and giving people options. Like, yes, you can take off the bumper, but keep in mind that's going to take 5 hours on and off.
Yeah.
Maybe you try this technique and it's going to work 90% of the time and it's going to save you 5 hours, which I just, you know.
Yeah.
So, but that comes from education. If you don't open your mind, and that's what our slogan is, never stop learning. I feel like if you don't open your mind to learning, you're going to be really limited in what you do, and you're going to be wondering why you put a square in a circle all the time when you could be putting a circle in a circle.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were out to dinner last night talking about vinyl wrapping and stuff, and you kind of blew my mind with, because I think of vinyl wrapping, you think of just cars and stuff, but I didn't realize all the things that you could wrap. I mean, talking about like, you know, buildings and stuff, like you don't realize that graphics are everywhere. Everywhere. Signage. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how much, you know, you really think about it.
It's a drug. I mean, it's true. I mean, in a sense, what I mean by that is, you know, once you start wrapping, you know, and I've wrapped anything that you can imagine.
What's the craziest thing you've ever wrapped?
Oh, that's actually a good question. I mean, I think it's the buildings that I used to wrap in New York. I mean, I would be wrapping full buildings top to bottom outside in the wintertime, and you'd be on these scaffolds and you'd be wrapping, all of a sudden the building would just have Tiger Woods on the side, you know? So that, for me, that was the most challenging, interesting. But I mean, that's what's cool about the market right now is that, you know, people focus on cars because cars are cool, but I mean, for me, the fact that like I travel a lot, and when I stay at the Hilton in Tokyo, in Shinjuku, and when I walk in, and my wife doesn't, you know, my family kind of knows it now, where when you're in the elevator, everything in the elevator is wrapped. Like wrapping is huge, and interior wraps are huge in Japan. When you walk in the bedroom, in the rooms, everything's wrapped. The walls are wrapped, the cabinets, everything that looks like wood is actually a sticker. So that is in itself. So once you start to know that everything's wrapped, every time you sit down, you kind of do this, and you kind of start to touch stuff because you want to see if it's a sticker on it. Because that's what's cool about technology today is that you can actually put a sticker on anything. Like even on a car, you can do it on the dash, you can do it on the window, you can do it on, you know, it's an exciting time.
If you could wrap anything, like what would you want to wrap? Like what's your, I want to wrap that.
My goal is to wrap, I've always wanted to wrap a plane, like a 787 or go to Boeing and wrap a plane. For me, that would be something to just to wrap it and then just to see it take off on the runway and be in the sky would be super cool.
So I'm in the detailing world, and we do a film, and we do paint protection film, and we're just kind of getting into the color wrap and change in the last few years. Really seen, you know, in the last 10 years, you've probably seen a lot of developments throughout the wrap industry. What are some of those things that you've seen in the last 10 years that really have kind of changed the industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the material has gotten better, especially with PPF. The technology of the PPF now, I would say the film has better durability, has better protection. It self-heals almost just at room temperature, which is cool. And I think it's much easier to install. I think all the manufacturers, some used to be a little stiff and grumpy to put on, and now for the most part, they're easier. I think in terms of tools, they've gotten much better. You know, back in the day when I first started repping New York City, I had one squeegee for 5 years. I mean, there's no place to buy tools. There's no place to buy anything. So that's changed, but I also think online learning. I mean, kind of what you're doing on your channel, what we're doing on the Rap Institute. I think people have access to training now that they can either be DIY or if they're a professional, they can train their employees quicker. So I feel like the learning curve of people and the skills level, before like 10 years ago, if I looked at a car, most cars I looked on the road were pretty dicey, you know, and I was worried about what's underneath because probably a lot of cut marks. When I look at a lot of cars on the road now, I see that the corner game is strong, everything's super tight. For the most part, I'm seeing the quality game is much higher, and that just breeds volume. Because if the quality is there, the customers, I mean, I know your shop was super busy during COVID, and I know a lot of people who were detailers or within the wrap world. Last year was not a slow year for people. Last year was booming, you know, and that just tells you that the market is growing.
So a lot of guys now are turning into one-stop shops. You know, they're doing detailing, they're doing film applications, window tinting, vinyl wrap, and all that. And it's almost kind of like this mashup. Now that you're working actually with G-Technic and putting coatings on top of wraps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a pretty new thing in the last couple of years. And so, what does that do for that?
You know, I think that's what we have with the Rap Institute, we started a program last year called the Rap Experience. So it's an online virtual show. And we take everything from printing, laminating, but also wrapping and detailing. G-Technic was the sponsor of that show. So we're trying to show that, like right now, if you do a color change wrap, you better be putting halo on top, you know, because I mean, that's a great upsell. And you also should be putting tint on the windows. And maybe if you wrap it with color change, maybe put PPF on top or put PPF on the bottom and wrap over top. So if you have all those skills in-house now, 2 or 3 years ago, I was really pushing in workshops, you should learn how to wrap, master those skills. And now it's coming to fruition where I see, like we're at Impressive Wraps in Los Angeles, and they do 25 cars a week, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And they either, half of it's PPF and half of it's color change, and there's a lot of mix and match, but it's the ability to upsell, like there's a great company called Lux, and they have tint for lights. So you can tint the lights, you can do chrome deletes, you can do ceramic coatings, you can do everything. So if you know how to do that in-house, you can do your profits skyrocket with minimal labor hours, and just finding that sweet spot.
And you're giving your customer a better quality product, a longer lasting, keeps the film.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were talking with Eric, from G-Technic yesterday, and we were saying that, the idea is that if the customer's in your door anyway for $2,500, $3,000 for, let's say, a color change wrap, there really is easy to take them up to $4,000, $4,500, but you have to have the skills in-house, So I think having, having those things set up in-house, in a good system, man, you can make a lot of money right now.
What does the future of the wrap industry look like? We just talked about yesterday, Tesla's came out with, now when you're ordering a Tesla, you can actually get it wrapped.
That's the future. I think it's funny, there's a video if you guys want to check it out on YouTube. I did a speech in 2016 about the future of the wrap industry, or the present state and the future. And at the time I said, I think the car manufacturers will go back to Model T Ford. And I said they're going to start making all the cars black, and and they're going to be wrapped at the factory or at the dealership, and then you're going to be able to, because right now, I said even at the time, I said if you buy a Tesla, I think this was my example, you only have 4 or 5 colors to choose from. You're buying a $100,000 car and you have 4 or 5 colors, and so I think Tesla's super smart, and I think that will be the trend right now. Is either, and you can already see it when I think it's getting that customization where you're going to get a full print at the factory or full print at the dealership, and it's going to be done by either an in-house installer at the shops, and I think that's the future for wraps, where I think it's here. But to be honest with you, reviewers watching at home, the focus is on cars, obviously. Yeah. Interior. I think interior is massive. Like, we renovated our home recently. Yeah. I wrapped the kitchen, I wrapped the kitchen table, I wrapped the bookshelves. Everything is just MDF boards, just super simple, cheap. Like my costs for this, but by wrapping it, I'm telling you, it looks like a super expensive house. Yeah. And
because you can do like the brushed aluminum look and all that.
Exactly. I'm telling you.
There's all kinds of different textures, materials out there. You think of just like the color wrap, you're looking for colors, but you can choose textures.
Dude, wood.
Substrates. And
anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you have an old table at your house or an old desk, wrap it. I'm telling you, and you're inside, it's warm, you're not in a stinky garage.
Yeah, my wife likes to redo furniture maybe.
No, seriously, the DIY market for that kind of stuff is massive. And I'm telling you, it's a huge market, and I really enjoy that stuff. Change your office, change your home, do all that stuff, go to your bathroom and change all the stuff. It's waterproof, it's durable. So, that for interiors and just volume with wraps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so advice for anybody looking to get in the industry. What do you tell them?
Yeah, I would say take a hands-on workshop, and there's lots of great companies out there. I teach for Avery Dennison in America, but there's also 3M and Orful. There's a lot of great programs. Get a membership on the Wrap Institute, and if those of you watching right now, we have a discount code on the Wrap Institute for 1 year. It's called New to Wrapping. Okay. So it's new, the number 2, and then wrapping, capital letters, and that gives you 15% off a 1-year membership.
Excellent.
So definitely take advantage of that, because I think getting a member, and I'm not trying to sell, but I do like the fact that we're 100% neutral. Yeah. We don't have an agenda. So we're just there to teach videos. We come out with 5 new videos a week. That's how you get to that's how you get to 2,000. And so we have that. So I think taking a hands-on workshop, getting training on the Wrap Institute, because I think we're endorsed by the manufacturers. It's super easy. It's around $8, $9 a month. So it's like we call ourselves Wrapflix. We're the Wrapflix of the industry.
That's
so
awesome.
I would say that, and then just getting some material and practice. So wrap your own hood. And wrap your hood till you feel like you could sell it, and then wrap a fender. And so start off with the easy bits and then kind of work out. Don't start off on a bumper because it would suck.
Yeah, you'll get frustrated real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're all over the world.
Yes.
Like you have workshops in Germany, Amsterdam, and do you have one in America too? You have like a headquarters here?
Right now with COVID, I was based in Dallas, but then with COVID and stuff, we kind of moved everything to Munich because I'm in Amsterdam and I have a partner in there. Right now, streaming, cool, but up until last year, I was teaching workshops in Japan, Africa, Australia, Brazil, Canada, America. I've been everywhere, and so that's just a testament to how popular this and big this industry is getting. And what's great about traveling, is that I get to see different cultures and kind of how they wrap. So in Japan, obviously quality is just insanely high in process. And then you go to Australia, and it's really, a really good established market there, but they have a different approach. They deal with a lot of UV and sun. So I mean, that's what's nice too, is you also see, I'm sure with the detailing too, there's different stories where people in Australia have a different, focus than you would in America, than you would in Canada. Like in Europe, they really don't talk about UV damage because it's, you never really get hoods that are cooked and baked. But let's say if you're in Texas or California or in Australia, the installers have a different approach. And I love that because I incorporate that into the Wrap Institute and how I train. And I'm always keeping everything fresh. So I do love that about traveling. It's cool.
That's awesome, different regions.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you want to check out everything in the description down below, we'll put all the links to the Wrap Institute and how to contact you and everything. So
awesome.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you, man.
See you guys later.
Cheers.